Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell to get notifications on my next upload. Today we are going into some bad girls of Wales. So let's get into it. Woman broke into care home and stole items from vulnerable adult flats. Claire Michelle Jones. Claire Michelle Jones urinated outside the Granville Court care home in Morriston before breaking into the home in the early hours of the morning. She was caught by staff in the living room of one of the residents' flats going through her victim's shopping bags. After initially claiming to be a friend of the victim and refusing to leave the property, she later fled, and the stolen property, including keys and a purse, were later found discarded in a lane. The defendant has 37 convictions on her record for 74 offences. Barrister Hugh Davis for Jones, she has been involved in a violent quarrel with her partner the night of the incident and had taken 4 street Valium tablets. Jones of Woodfield Street, Morriston, was sentenced to 15 months in prison. Woman breaks into care home and stole items from a vulnerable adult's flat. Claire Michelle Jones was found rifling through shopping bags and tried to deceive care home workers when challenged. She'd urinated in the car park before entering the building. A woman broke into a Swansea care home before stealing possessions belonging to a vulnerable adult inside. Claire Michelle Jones urinated outside Granville House in Slate Street in Morrison, where Granville Court Care Home is located, before gaining entry into the care home and finding her way to the living area of her victim. Swansea Crown Court heard that the victim was a vulnerable adult with epilepsy and other health conditions, meaning that her living quarters were not securely locked to make sure staff members could come to her aid immediately if needed. The court was told how Jones had gained access to the care home by interfering with the door at 4:39 a.m. on the 15th of August after urinated in the car park before entering. Dirty bitch. At 5 a.m, an emergency buzzer sounded from the flat and a care worker went to the victim's living quarters to find Jones rifling through shopping bags. When challenged, Jones says, "I'm her mate," and repeatedly said she invited me here in an attempt to deceive the staff. She was told to leave the flat repeatedly, but maintained her story and refused to leave for a long time. This episode caused the victim to become extremely upset, and lanyard, keys, and purse were stolen and later located discarded near a lane near a cafe. Jones of Woodfield Street, Morrison, was arrested on September 12th and interviewed by police that she gave a no-comment response to all questions put to her. The 39-year-old later admitted burglary. She has 37 convictions on her record for 74 offences. Hugh Davis drew attention to the letter of apology Jones had written, regretting her actions. He also described how he had been involved in a quarrel with her partner on the night of the incident and had taken 4 street Valium. Hugh Rees sentenced Jones to 15 months in prison. Speaking after the hearing, South Wales Detective Constable Alana Lan said Jones targeted homes of vulnerable young adults with no thought of the impact it may have on them. Jones entered the victim's room whilst they were asleep and stole her personal possessions. She had shown and stole her personal possessions. She has shown no remorse for her calculated actions. The victim of this offence has been deeply affected by the intrusion into her privacy. She has lost her trust in others, and this has also affected her daily life. Woman stayed a night in a hotel, then emptied the safe and burgled the guest's bedroom. Carly Ann Butler. Carly Ann Butler went back to the Bluebell Hotel in Neath with a guest she had met at a party. While her new friend was sleeping, she helped herself to a couple of bottles of booze from the bar before stealing the master key from reception and using it to empty the safe of almost $3,000, and then go into one of the bedrooms and take the occupant's tablet, computer, and some clothing, and even her electric toothbrush. Ew, why do you want an electric toothbrush, bitch? 26-year-old has 17 previous convictions for 34 offences, including criminal damage, possession of Charlie, amphet, Valium, cannabis, shoplifting, assault, obstructing a police officer, driving without due care and attention, and 2 house burglaries. Well, ain't you a bloody joy? Butler, former of Delwyn, Neath, is now at Park Newed, Britain Ferry, was sentenced to 2 years and 5 months. Woman ends up in man's hotel room after a party, then steals hotel's master key, £3,000 and booze from the bar. Carly Butler has gone back to the hotel with a man she met at a party. It's a really cute hotel, actually. A woman who stole almost $3,000 from a safe and a couple of bottles of booze from the bar after going to the hotel with a man following a party. Using a master key, she took Carly Ann Butler, then went into a guest's bedroom and stole the occupant's tablet, computer, some of the clothes, and even an electric toothbrush. That still bothers me. Sending the 26-year-old to prison, the judge described what she has done as a mean offence. Swansea Crown Court heard that on the night of October 1st this year, Butler went to a party before going to the Bluebell Hotel in Neath with a guest who was staying there. The following morning, while her friend was sleeping, she wandered around the hotel, helping herself to 2 bottles of alcohol from the bar area. Connor Evans' prosecution said she then went to the reception area, which was unmanned at the hotel, is operating at a reduced capacity due to the current climax, and found the master key. With the key, she opened the hotel safe, stole £2,845 within, along with an iPod music player. The prosecution also said the defendant used the key to let herself into one of the guest rooms. The occupant was in Neath for work and had left the hotel early that morning. Butler stole the victim's Samsung tablet device along with her electric toothbrush, toiletries, and a quantity of clothes. The defendant subsequently left the Bluebell but was identified from CCTV, clearly. Is in an impact statement read to the court, the guest whose Butler room burgled said she had to stay in the hotel for work, and she was now wary of what might happen. Butler, from former Neath, is now at Park Newed, Britain Ferry, had previously pleaded guilty to burglary and theft when she appeared in the dock. The defendant had 17 previous convictions for 34 offences, including criminal damage, possession of Charlie, possession of amphet, possession of Valium, cannabis, shoplifting, assault, obstructing a police officer, driving without due care and attention, failing to stop after an accident, and 2 house burglaries. This clarification of the Bluebell Hotel as a dwelling, combined with the defendant's previous convictions, means she fell to the sentence of a third strike house burglary, therefore subject to a minimum of a 3-year sentence. Cuddly for Butler conceded that was very little that was attractive, but after the Bluebell offence, he said the defendant had been misusing alcohol and drugs, living a chaotic lifestyle, but while being held on remand in custody had undertaken qualifications and was taking steps to change her life. Well, I hope so. Everyone deserves a second chance in life. Judge Paul Thomas QC told Butler that on any view, what she had done had just been mean, and sentenced her to 2 years and 5 months in prison. Butler will serve half of that period in custody and be released on licence to serve the remaining in community. Again, I've said this before on others, if she does anything, even something little, she shoplifts, drives without a licence or anything like that, she'll be recalled back to jail and do the rest. Carer who stole £93,000 from elderly victim ordered to pay back just £1. Fiona Hardwood went on a spending spree with the pensioner's money, buying clothes, a holiday, joining dating websites, but now has no assets that can be found. Fiona Louise Hayward from Nayland stole £93,000 from a vulnerable widow after befriending her. You scuzzball. A cruel carer who befriended an elderly woman before stealing almost £93,000 from her bank account now has no assets which investigators can recover, the court has heard. Fiona Louise Harwood started out as a part-time cleaner for the victim, but over a number of years struck up a friendship with the woman while simpering off tens of thousands of pounds from her account. By the time the fraud was discovered, the elderly woman just had £6,000 and even changed her will to leave Hayward her house after her death. Lord, what a bitch. The defendant was sentenced to 28 months in prison in September of this year after pleading guilty to the fraud, but was back in court this week to proceed of crimes hearing. Swansea Crown Court heard the 50-year-old had benefited from her wrongdoing to the tune of £92,653. However, the authorities are unable to find any reasonable assets to her name. Paul Hobson, for the prosecution, asked the court to therefore make a confiscation order of the minimal sum of £1. That's a effing joke. So she steals nearly £100,000 and she got to pay back £1. That's an effing joke. What a sleazebag. Howard of High Street in Nayland, Pembrokeshire, had been caring for the victim as an informal basis following the death of the pensioner's husband in 2016 and had been claiming a carer's allowance. However, she was secretly using the woman's bank card on a regular shopping trip as well as withdrawing thousands of pounds from the cash point. Hayward also transferred more than £50,000 of the widow's savings directly into her own bank account. The fraud only came to light when the elderly woman obtained a bank statement and found 4 pages of transactions listing payments for the likes of Debenhams, Amazon, Next, Joel's, as well as subscriptions to online dating sites. Judge Paul Thomas gave Highwood 28 days to pay the £1. Oh, good God. Or face 1 day in prison in default. See, that's just a joke. That is a joke. That's disgusting. Welcome to the UK's justice system, people. Woman abused, kicked and spat at police officers and paramedics and told them they were going to catch hepatitis C while being restrained in an ambulance. Leanne Robinson made orgasm noises and called the police officers the P word. Well, I knew a bundle of fucking joy. A woman being held by police and paramedics abused, spat at the officers and taunted them that they are going to catch Hep C. Leanne Robinson lashed out at the officers and subjected them to vile language for around an hour. Sending the defendant to prison, a judge said the police and paramedics had gone to help the woman and was hard to imagine a more disgusting form of assault than spitting, especially in the current COVID crisis. Swansea Crown Court heard the emergency service went to the address in Neath on the night of August 14th this year, following reports of the woman with a throat injury. Sophie Hill, prosecution said, when they arrived at the scene, Robinson embarked on a tirade of abuse and violent behaviour, which lasted for around an hour. The court heard the defendant was screaming and shouting and calling the officers the P word and nonsense. Due to her level of aggression, the 28-year-old had to be restrained, and during the struggle, she kneed one of the officers in the groin. Good God. The aggressive and abusive language and behaviour continued in the ambulance, with Robinson kicking out at police and paramedics and trying to bite officers. Good God. Miss Hill said while being held down on the stretcher, Robinson imitated orgasm noises, then spat at officers and ambulance crew, hitting the PC in the face, and told them they're going to get Hep C. It's the one you can't get rid of. What a bitch. The court heard that while officers wiped themselves down with antiseptic wipes, Robinson sniggered at them. The abuse continued on the way to the hospital, and once in A&E, she turned the attention to the nurses. The abuse behaviour continued for another 20 minutes before eventually began to calm down. After being treated, she was taken to Swansea Central Police Station. In interview, she said she had drunk half a bottle of gin before the incident. She said she had spat at the office because they were pissing her off. Oh, well, that's okay then. In a statement from the ambulance paramedics, which was read to court by the prosecution, he said that he has never been spat at before, added, "We were all there for the same purpose, helping her." Robinson of Woodlands Park Drive, Caxton, Neath, had previously pleaded guilty to 3 counts of assaulting emergency workers when she appeared in the dock for sentencing. The court heard that she had 4 previous convictions for 6 offences. Dan Griffiths for Robinson said the defendant accepts her behaviour has been nothing but disgraceful. He said his client had stopped taking her prescription medicine and already been in an emotional state before consuming the alcohol. He added that all her previous offenders was linked to Class A drugs. Judge Hugh Rees told Robinson she used vile language towards the police and paramedics before spitting at them. A more disgusting form of assault is too hard to imagine. He said her actions had caused distress to public servants who were only there to try and help her, as they were duty-bound to do. Actions particularly concerning during the current infected pandemic. The judge said, "You were out of control and you put the emergency workers who risk a great deal to help people in jeopardy. Judge Reese said only an immediate term of imprisonment will appropriate for such deplorable behaviour, given the defendant a 1/3 discount for her guilty pleas, a sentence Robinson to a total of 6 months in prison. The defendant will serve up to half of that period in custody before being released on licence to serve the remaining in the community. Now, people, 6 months, you spat at them, you dirty little bitch. No, I think for spitting at anyone, there should be more of a punishment, especially at the moment. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to put a thumbs up, thumbs down. Now, some of these is just a friggin' joke. That £1, no, sorry. And spitting, you dirty little bitch, no. Let me know which one you find more annoying in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.